Hey folks, Brendan here from Bluelight with another video and podcast that's going to enable you to completely nail your police interview, whether it's a interview for the recruitment process, your in-force interview, one for transferring from one force to another, a promotion board, or a specialist interview. And it's all based on some one-to-one coaching I did earlier on today, which was just an awesome session. I really enjoyed it. If you want to find out more information about the one-to-ones, the webinars, the online courses, all in the links below, together with the Facebook groups for serving officers and for potential recruits. So this particular one-to-one I did was with someone who's looking to transfer from one force to another. And when I looked at the feedback, I thought I've just got to capture some of this and share it with you, because there's so much learning in just one debrief of one question. All of this is just from one question. Actually, no, sorry, it's from two. I take that back, it's from two. Because the first one was around why you want to transfer. The second one was about analysing information from a range of sources in order to make a difficult decision. So that's all we worked on for an hour. But like I said, so much learning came out of it. I came up with 13 big tips. I tried to make it 15 or 12. There's some superstition, isn't there, around the number 13, but it's going to be lucky for you. It's going to be your lucky 13. So the first thing is, don't get bogged down in the CVF. I know I see so many of you talk about how am I going to manage the interview? Oh, just know your competencies. No one can know all of this. Don't be ridiculous. You can't know and understand all of this, especially when you've got things like I know it's in black and white, but the wheel of confusion. I mean, who understands that? Anyone? If there's any serving police officer or recruit candidate that can explain why the values are at one level, the competence is at 3, and yet the same sort of behaviours are mentioned in the values as in the competencies. If anyone can explain things like that, please do get in touch. So instead, what I've asked my client to have is like a pool of 6 or 7 experiences that range from problem solving, working with others, learning from experience, and a whole load of other things. If you've got all of that and you've got the detail around it, then there's every chance you're going to be able to answer any question that they give you. All right, so that's number one. Don't get bogged down in the CVF. Number 2, if you've prepared a question, an answer to the question, please can you tell me about a time when you've analysed information from a range of sources in order to make a difficult decision? Be prepared for the question being delivered in a slightly different way, actually in a massively different way. So this could also be, tell me about a time when you've dealt with an investigation and had to consider a range of different perspectives before you decided on what the outcome was going to be. It's the same question. You're simply talking about analysis of information, a range of different perspectives in order to come up with a decision or what the outcome is going to be. It's the same question. It's just been delivered in a different way. Tip number 3, make sure you answer the question. So in our why do you want to be a police officer in this force, in this specific role, my client gave a partial description out of that and then went on to describe what I thought was quite a sort of corporate-y description of the role, the sort of thing you'd see on the website. That's the answer to a different question. That's the starting point for the answer to the question. Tell me what your understanding of the role of I'm not going to say what the role was that he was going for, because I don't want to identify the individual or the force. So make sure you answer the question. Number 4. So in this particular answer about why you want to be a police officer in this force, in this particular unit, the individual talked about the tasks, the sort of tasks that unit perform, how they love them. And they talked about that particular role. So why do you love that? What is it that inspires us and motivates you? And when I had to ask that question a couple of times, yeah, but why? Yeah, but why? Yeah, but why? And when we got to it, the answer was just awesome. Oh my goodness, it would so impress me as an interviewer. Number 5, if the question's asking around analysis in order to make a difficult decision, you've got to describe some analysis, as opposed to I spoke to, I liaised with, I got information from. So we've got to be far more detailed than that and actually describe the analysis. And it's another one of the tips that's coming up later. Number 6, structure, structure, structure. My client described the particular incident as if they were describing the incident to one of their colleagues in the night kitchen at 3 o'clock in the morning, over a kebab or over any other form of refs. I know some of you are going to say, refs, what's refs? Don't give me that. You get a bite to eat at some point, don't you? Even if it's over the computer in the parade room. Cold kebab at 4 in the morning, awesome. So anyway, it felt like he was telling a story to one of his colleagues. It's got to have a structure, 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 structure. And the structure I like to use, it's based on 26 years worth of experience of doing this, of coaching and supporting people for promotion boards and specialist interviews, is the SAL-Q method. And there's more about that in all of my other videos, and especially on the online course. I give you a slight skeleton in my videos as to what the SAL-Q system is. The detail is what you get on my online courses. I know, teasing you there, aren't I? Number 7, in your analysis, you need to assume the ABCs of policing. Assume nothing, believe no one. Challenge and corroborate everything. So we looked at how we could introduce a concept from the peace package, which looks at how you identify topics for interviewing suspects and witnesses and victims. And we used a topic system to compare and contrast evidence from a range of different sources. I know, it might sound a bit complex, but this individual is going into a complex area of policing. So the need to have that level of complexity in their analysis. Simply saying, as I said before, spoke and liaised, it's not enough. Not enough. That's not analysis. That's just stuff you did. Okay, number 9. And in that analysis, how did you demonstrate impartiality? So we looked at what some of the impartiality checks were that he actually did. He just didn't describe them. Number 10. Where was this? Oh, yes. So in the debrief, some really interesting outcomes came out, which demonstrated this individual's ability to work alongside partner agencies. And even though the result wasn't necessarily enforcement, there were some regulatory breaches that this individual ascertained that were actually the domain of the council. And he described really well how he worked with the council so that those regulatory breaches could get followed up by the appropriate agency. Awesome stuff. Why he missed that in his first go, I do not know. We probably didn't think it was important. Number 11, in that decision-making process, how he actually managed upwards. So you don't make difficult decisions that can impact on others without checking them off with your supervision. And he completely failed to mention that in his answer. So we talked about how you'd actually manage upwards, and the way he actually did manage upwards was a really good example, but he just didn't do it on a conscious basis. Now we can talk about how he consciously managed upwards, and it would really impress me as an interviewer. Number 12, we had to have some learning. There was no learning in there, and the learning was around doing the right thing. And that's when we started talking about, again, managing upwards and challenging a sergeant, because he decided that next time he would actually challenge a sergeant's thought process. It's not that the sergeant did anything inappropriate. The sergeant just had a thought process in respect of the use of resources. And my client actually on the day, when he actually went through this process, disagreed, but he didn't vocalize that disagreement. And he should have vocalized the disagreement, because I think he would have been right to do so. So we talked at what doing the right thing was and how we could utilize the 10 peopleometer to do that. The 10 peopleometer, by the way, is an awesome, awesome tool to utilize. Number 13, the very last one. He was going to use a decision which was very, very quick time. One where I'm not going to give the exact circumstances, but bottom line, he should have received some kind of award for it because it involved saving someone's life. But it was very quick time decisions, very quick time decisions. And although impressive, it wouldn't have enabled him to demonstrate the behaviours that are being sought after in this sort of answer. And so this was an example of a brave decision, not a difficult decision. And so I always encapsulate this as a sort of tea and medals. Great bit of police work, but tea and medals. You know, you got patted on the back when you got back. Everyone said that what you did was absolutely awesome, and it was awesome. A really brave decision and saved someone's life. Awesome. That's what policing is all about. But that's not going to get you the job. And I know you might think, that's crazy. Well, yeah, in many ways it is, but you've got to learn how to play the game, because the behaviours that they're looking for in the competency and values framework aren't exhibited in the sort of brave decision that this individual actually made on that day. So there you go, folks. 13 tips that are going to enable you to succeed in your interview, whether it's police promotion, potential recruit, final interview for the recruitment process, specialist interview, transfer interview. These are the sort of tips that will nail it. If I was asked, are there more than 13? Well, yeah, there's hundreds of tips. There's 26 years worth of experience of tips going on in there. So how to access them? Come and join us. If you're a serving police officer, the Enforce Advancement Group, £3.33 a month. That's going to change at some point soon. You get access to a course, an online course, and weekly webinars that are recorded. So there's over a year's worth of webinars, practice webinars that you can watch. Final interview for the recruits, links below, online course, and again weekly webinars where we actually practice the skills. Online assessment center, there's online assessment center course plus the webinars option, where you get 4 webinars that look at various aspects of the online assessment center, where we actually get to practice. So awesome resources for you to enable you to succeed no matter where you are in the policing journey. I'll catch up with you soon, folks. Hope you enjoyed this. Bye bye for now.